Okay, guys, so in the previous video we talked about how to create a project in CodeBlock or starting a new project. We talk about the graphical user interface, that everything that we see here is graphical user interface. It has buttons, so these we call it is visual. Like you can see colors, you can see some how I say physical items, I'll say. So these are graphical user interface. But we are actually creating a console environment. Console environment means, as I said, it doesn't have any buttons. You only see text. You only see a black environment or a console window. When I talk of console window, it's like a black environment with text only. Yeah, or yeah, text can be anything, right? So that is it. So, and then we also talked about this header file here. This is a header. Okay, we talk about this header here. So we can just type here. We can bring a comment, right? We talk about comments, so I can actually comment and say this is a header. So we talked about this header saying that in coding in C++, you need to actually bring out this. Okay, that is, you have to include and then include a certain library. Okay, that is input output. Okay, input output stream. Now this library, as I said, help us what to receive and output what data or information. Oh, it actually helps us to take in information and output the information. Good. And then we also talk about comments. We talked about, sorry, including this, which I'm going to talk about this in this video, using namespace std. Good, as I'm going to talk about it. And then I said we can also actually include what we call what comments in C++ or in programming. In programming, you can actually include comments in every programming language. Now, these comments actually help you to actually describe what you're doing for free, like free of charge. You can actually type whatever you're doing and somebody can actually read it, but the program is not going to read it, so it's not part of your program. It is just a comment. As I said, it's just a comment. You can pass comments. Anybody who gets hold of your source code, whatever code you see here, we call it source code. Anybody who gets access to your source code can actually read your comments and know that, oh, this is what the person is trying to create. It is not by force to actually comment your project, but it is very good. It's a very good practice to actually leave comments to help you yourself, the programmer, to recognize where you've got into in the case where your codes are so many or plenty, okay, or lengthy. So, and then I also talk about this being your main area where you actually be coding. As I said, as time goes on in the advanced learning lessons, you will learn about classes where you actually, and then functions. Okay, so but now let's look at the main function. This is the main function. Now let's clean everything here again. In every lesson, I'm going to clean everything and I'll code it again so that it actually sticks in your brain. Okay, you need to get this in your brain. So in starting your C++ program, this is blank. Okay, you go by include. So we are actually including something. We are including the IO stream, that is our library, so that we can do input and output. And then we do what we call using namespace std. Now what is using namespace std? Now it means we actually bringing out on board, we want to use now std here means standard. Okay, std means here means what? Standard. So it means we are including we are trying to make use of every library, okay, in our system or in our software, in our program. We are trying to make use of everything. We are bringing everything in namespace on board, everything that is standard on board. Okay, so we'll get to understand what I mean by everything that is standard, okay, on board. As I said, C++ is fun, it's amazing. Just take note of these two. Okay, we're trying to bring everything standard on board. Okay, so that is the full meaning of std. So using namespace what? Std. So put that one in mind. We are trying to bring everything on board. Now the next thing is for you to actually type in the main function. So main, you just type int. Int here means integer. Int means integer. We know integers mean in integers we have negative and positive whole numbers. Okay, now please, we'll talk about main, the whole of main, later on. For now, let's pay attention to this. Try and get it in your head. Now we say int main Now open and close brackets, and then curly braces. Okay, curly braces. Then we open it up. Now when it is successful, when our program is successful, we should return what? 0. So just do it. Okay, it's for fun. You can actually choose not to include it. Okay, it is fun. Now it is not every time you make use of using namespace std. As I said, in your programs, when you are creating your program, you can choose to bring using namespace std. Okay, when you don't want to actually include everything. As I said, let's assume you want to learn something. Okay, you want to make use of, you want to do an assignment. As I said, you can go to your library and then pick up a certain book, come and use that book for your assignment. There wouldn't be any need bringing all the library books here and then picking them and then using them. Some of them will be useless. Sorry for that. Some of them will be useless. Okay, so using namespace standard means you're actually including everything in your library to be used in your everything standard in your library to actually use in your C++ program. I told you C++ has its own special library, so amazing. It has a lot of books in its library, so take it like that. So these two are the headers we are actually including here. So int main return 0 means when the program is successful, we should return 0. Now let's assume I want to do my first program. I want to write my first program. In the olden days, after creating programming languages, the first thing, let's say I want to actually output sweet brain. I want to create a program that will say hello sweet brain. Okay, hello sweet brain. How do I do it? Okay, should I say display sweet brain? Should I tell the computer to say print it? No, it has its own syntax. C++ has what we call syntax. It has its own syntax. Now in order to print out something or display something or output something, as I said, making use of what? The input output, we'll make use of a standard item. That standard thing is cout. Cout. And you can see the moment I type cout, you can see o stream. O stream meaning output what? Stream. Output stream. You get it? Good. So it means we are making use of what? An output. Okay. Good. Now output stream, then what we do is, so we can do this, then we type cout, then 2 less than, is it less than? You do this is less than, right? Less than. Good. So if your output, you use less than. Okay, less than. So take note, when you're outputting, you need 2 less than. Okay, so you do your elbow like this. So output. Now we talk about stuff. So let's say I want to output sweet brain. Please don't get confused here. I'm going to actually teach you what I'm going to do here now, and then I can, after writing sweet brain, okay, sweet brain, then doing this, then I can do another 2 less than again at the end of, I'll teach you about it. I want to output this. I want the computer to say, what did I type? Yo, hello sweet brain. I want the computer to output hello sweet brain. Okay, hello sweet brain. Now I'll put whatever I want to output in between the two what? The 2 less than, like this. This is a less than, this is another less than. Okay, then I'll type endl. Now endl means end line. The full meaning, this is the full meaning. End line, that is the full meaning. Now in the first program, so let me end it here so that I can actually explain some other things to you. So you do 2 less than, and then you type end line, then semicolon. You're done. End line, semicolon. Now listen, in the first video I told you C++ is in lines. We program in lines. Now the end line means that we are done with line 8. So it should, when we output it, it's going to, outside the first line, is going to cut it short and come to the second one. Okay, when we run our program, it is going to cut it and bring another one. You get it? So let me calm down. I just want to output again, see out, and I'll output again, hello, another brain. Now, and I say end line. What I assume is that it is, even if I take this, okay, let me show you something. Let me cut this thing and then bring it here. Now, I said C++ works in what? In lines, okay, works in line. Now I'm done with this thing. After doing C out, hello, sweet brain, and I ended that line, and I typed again, I continued by saying C out, hello, another brain. Let's see what will happen. In normal sense, because of the end line, it's supposed to take this thing when I output it, okay, when I run the program, when I run this program, it's supposed to bring it below, okay. So let me go here. I'll go to debug or continue. I'll press on this thing. I have a problem here. It says you need to specify a debugger program for the debugger settings. Okay, sorry, I clicked on the wrong distance. So it's the green button. Sorry, it's the green button. So I don't want to click on this one, but rather click on this one. There's this settings sign with the green button, meaning I'm packaging my software and then running it. Okay, I'll talk about that one later too. So I'll click on build and run, and now you can see I have a console window. I've created a program. I've created my own software. I've created a program, and in my program I outputted the computer outputted sweet brain, hello, another brain. So it's run this line and then cut it short because of the end line. Because of the end line here, it closed this particular space and brought the C out, hello, another line to the next one line. So the end line brings whatever you are doing to the next line. You get it? Good. So let me terminate this and let me clean this so that I don't confuse you. Good. Good. Now let's get to the real stuff itself. Now in programming, okay, as I said, we have what we call data types. We have what we call data types. We have what we call data types. Now let me open something else. I was teaching web development with some stuff. Okay, so let me open this up. Now in programming, we have what we call data types. Okay, data types. We have what we call data types. Now we have a lot of data types in programming in C++. I'm going to mention a few. As time goes on, when you're able to make use of these data types, then I add some to it. Okay, now some of the data types, we have what we call integer. We have integers. Okay, integer, and it's represented by int. It is represented by int. We have another integer called we have data types such as float, decimal. So decimal is an integer, but in programming we don't say decimals. In programming, take notes. In programming we don't say decimal. In programming we don't say decimals. In programming we say float rather. So in C++ you can get your float. Take note of this. You can have integers, you can have floats. So example of integers is example is the negative and positive whole numbers. So negative and positive whole numbers. Okay, from negative infinity and negative infinity, any infinity number. Okay, so whatever you know what an integer is, negative and positive whole numbers. So -5 is an integer, -20 is an integer, 1 is an integer, 40 is an integer. Good. Now floats here, that is the decimal we know. Example of float is 1.00 or 0.5 or 0.4 and etc. So any decimal, okay, any decimal is a float in programming. Now we have other data types in C++, like double. we'll talk about it later. I don't want to confuse you, so just keep it in mind. Now, double falls under numbers. Okay, all these things. Okay, all these things I've talked about here. Sorry, all these three things that I've talked about here. So 1, 2, 3 falls under what? Numbers. We'll talk about some later. So these falls under what? Numbers. Okay, so this 3 falls under numbers. So let me put this thing here. It falls under what? Numbers. Now we have another data type. But it doesn't fall under numbers. We call it bool. Bool here is what we know as true. If it is not true, then it is false. Okay, true or false. But in C++, true or false is written as such. Okay, true or false. It is not written in capital, it's written in lowercase. So that is boolean or bool. Boolean, you can say boolean or bool. That is another data type. Now we have another data type we call string. Now, in normal human languages, okay, strings are like alphabets, symbols. Okay, so you can put in mind that strings are alphabets or symbols, like, you get it. So symbols like at, hash, dollar sign, etc. But the key point is that strings are always found in double quotes or single quotes. So if you have any alphabet, if you have any symbol in double quotes or single quotes, it is a string. It is a string what? Data type. So example is hello. Now since hello is in double quotes, hello is termed as a string. Now if I have a single quote and I have in between the single quotes I have at, it is a string. Okay, at is a string. So whatever I put in between a single quote or double quote is automatically a string. Okay, so that means that if I have a number 2 and I put it inside a double quote or single quote, that 2 is no more a number. That 2 is now a string. Now string cannot be used in calculations, arithmetic calculations that will give you some reasonable results. No. So it means 2 here in my string, 2 here in single quote or double quote is no more a number. It is what? A string. It is, in logical sense, we will say it is an alphabet now, or a symbol. You get it? So whatever it is in double quote or single quote, we term it as what? A string. Now later we'll talk about what we call char in C++. C++ has another data type called char. So now we've listed about 6 in here. We have 6 data types in C++. So in here, in the next video, we are going to actually talk about more things. We are actually going to take these data types, discuss more about them, and then try and use them. We talk about variables also, and then try and do some coding. So these are basically what we have. Now let's head into the next video where we have a review of this and then we get to it. Thank you very much.